We've got breaking news in Brett Favre's defamation lawsuit against Pat McAfee. Favre and McAfee, it seems, have reached a settlement agreement. Favre has agreed to withdraw his defamation lawsuit, and Pat McAfee has agreed to several other terms that we'll talk about very shortly in this video. Now, just a few weeks ago, we saw Pat McAfee file a bombshell motion to dismiss Brett Favre's defamation claim against him, followed by Brett Favre filing an amended complaint in which Favre was accusing McAfee of defaming him, slandering his name with actual malice. Before that, Favre's lawyers even said that he would bankrupt McAfee, and that if he did in fact bankrupt McAfee with this case, then McAfee would have learned his lesson.
It's going to cost Pat McAfee millions of dollars. And if it bankrupts him, then he will have learned his lesson.
Later in this video, we'll talk about why the sudden change of heart. But right now, let's first take a look at Favre's statement announcing the new settlement. In a tweet today, Favre wrote, "I'm happy that Pat McAfee and I have settled this litigation. Like Pat said, he was attempting to be funny and not commenting based on any personal knowledge. We'd both much rather talk about football." In exchange for Favre's promise to drop his defamation claim against McAfee, McAfee agreed to give a public statement to his audience during his show in which he clarified his statements about Brett Favre that were made the subject of Favre's defamation lawsuit. First, McAfee suggested that he was just joking when he called Favre the sticky finger bandit from Home Alone 2 and suggested that Favre had stolen money right out of the pockets of the poorest of the poor people in Mississippi.
As many of you know, Brett Favre sued me over statements that I made about him on this program. As I confirmed in my court papers, and I repeat here, my statements expressed in comedic style were based solely on public information and allegations.
Second, McAfee expressed his respect for Favre's NFL career.
As I previously stated, I respect the hell out of Brett Favre, the football player, and his Hall-of-Fame career on the field.
Finally, McAfee clarified that he had no personal knowledge that Favre ever engaged in any kind of wrongdoing in connection with the Mississippi welfare fraud scandal.
I have no personal knowledge about any case involving Brett in Mississippi.
McAfee then pointed out that he did not pay any money to Brett Favre to settle the case. No money changed hands here.
I am pleased to report that based solely on me again clarifying these points now, with no settlement paid, Brett is withdrawing his suit against me.
McAfee said that he was happy to be moving on from this incident, just like Favre, and shift his focus back onto sports.
I would much rather talk about sports than about lawsuits, so I'm glad we have all of this behind us. We now move on.
So now the question you might be wondering is, why the sudden change of hearts? What do I think happened behind the scenes? Well, I think that Favre and his lawyers made the right call here in dropping this lawsuit for several reasons. And I'm sure these reasons played some type of role in influencing Favre's decision to settle. First, Favre's defamation lawsuits against McAfee and Shannon Sharpe, for that matter, have been intended primarily as a warning shot to other sports reporters to discourage others from making similar statements about Favre in the media. In that regard, the lawsuits seemed to have worked because after Favre filed the lawsuit, Pat McAfee and other sports commentators seemed to go out of their way to use words like allegedly and to place the allegations in the MDHS lawsuit against Favre into greater context. So if that was Favre's sole mission in filing these lawsuits, then mission accomplished. There would be no reason to continue pursuing his claim against McAfee. Second, Favre and his lawyer probably realized that there was a strong chance that the court would grant McAfee's motion to dismiss and dismiss Favre's defamation lawsuit. By settling before the court decided the motion to dismiss, Favre was able to save face and withdraw the case on his own terms and avoid getting the L in that case. Third, pushing forward against McAfee alongside the MDHS lawsuit against him would have been a very risky choice for Favre to make, because anything he said or disclosed in his defamation case could be used to undermine his defense in the MDHS lawsuit. Not to mention the fact that he would have all of McAfee's legal team investigating and trying to come up with evidence against him to prove that he actually did engage in wrongdoing, on top of the Mississippi Department of Human Services, state auditor's office, their legal team investigating the same thing, and various other law enforcement who are investigating this. The fewer eyes and lawyers who are on this matter scrutinizing Favre's behavior, the better for Favre in his defense. Finally, Favre had very little to gain, even if he ended up winning at trial against McAfee, as unlikely as that would have been. Favre doesn't need this lawsuit to clear his name and prove his innocence in connection with the Mississippi welfare scandal. He'll have a perfect opportunity to clear his name and vindicate himself and state his defense in the MDHS litigation. That is the best forum for him to really clear his name of any wrongdoing, if that is in fact the case. So what about Favre's lawsuit against Shannon Sharpe? You might be wondering, will he likely settle with Sharpe as well? Before I answer that question, I want to quickly invite you to join my channel membership program to unlock special perks and support the channel. Just click the link in the description box below. Now, with that out of the way, let's get to the question that you might be wondering. Do I think that Favre will reach a similar settlement in his defamation suit against Shannon Sharpe? Doubtful. Pat McAfee's comments about Favre were made in comedic jest. Yes, McAfee was making jokes at Favre's expense to gain views on social media, but McAfee did not have any personal contempt towards Favre, at least not that I could see. There was no personal malice, no actual malice towards Favre there. In fact, McAfee went out of his way after he was sued by Favre to emphasize to his audience, whenever discussing the matter, that he was just reporting what other people had alleged against Favre and not stating it as truth. He even made a big joke about it on his show about how he used allegedly repeatedly when discussing the Favre situation.
The quotes that were in that lawsuit were certainly accurate. But there's one word I believe that was said often on this particular program, if you were to watch it all, and that would be allegedly.
That's right. Well, you know, instead of paying these lawyer fees, you could just pay back all the money that you stole from all the poor people. But that's neither
allegedly. No, that was his quote.
That was his quote.
That was not ours.
And he did not say allegedly.
We hope this would be strike that from the
record. I did not say that. That is what the county auditor said.
McAfee, in his own way, expressed at least somewhat of a desire to reconcile with Brett Favre by inviting him on his show.
Like if Brett calls me and Brett says like, hey, I didn't do everything that all the like evidence and everything that's, you know,
all the media outlets are saying.
And other people that report it, like I didn't do that. I would, you know, appreciate like, you know, if you would maybe make that right, because I actually didn't do it. I said, Brett, come on the show. Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
Let's do the whole thing. Let's do it. And then it would be a good conversation.
In stark contrast to Pat McAfee and his statements about Favre, Shannon Sharpe was not making a joke at Favre's expense. He was not joking. There was no comedic jest. Shannon Sharpe was making a serious accusation type of statement.
You got to be a sorry mofo to steal from the lowest of the low. Skip, Brett Favre is taken from the underserved. He stole money from people that really needed that money.
Yep. During the broadcast in which Sharpe accused Favre of stealing from poor Mississippians, he showed utter contempt towards Favre.
He's been a sleazeball. He's been shady for a very, very long time.
Sharpe brought up past indiscretions from long ago.
Nobody mentioned about text messages that he sent to that jet masseuse. Nobody mentioned anything about the addiction that he suffered from.
On the other hand, there are several factors that may actually lead Favre to settle with Sharpe soon, notwithstanding the personal animus that appears to exist between the two. First, Sharpe's motion to dismiss made a persuasive argument that his speech is rhetorical hyperbole protected by the First Amendment. Second, litigating this lawsuit is going to be costly for Brett Favre, both in terms of his reputation and in lawyer fees. And again, Favre stands little to gain in his lawsuit against Sharpe. He can restore his reputation and clear his name by winning his defense in the MDHS civil lawsuit against him. If you don't want to miss any of my updates on the Brett Favre defamation lawsuits, then make sure to hit that subscribe button below and turn the bell notification icon on. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.